Hello, listeners. It's been a while. This is Gothpod, a Gotham City podcast. I understand that most of you probably know what Gothpod is by now, and you may have a vague idea of who I am, but it has been a while, hasn't it? Life will forever take precedence over a passion project such as this, as much as we wish it was the other way around. So, maybe your memories of my voice and my thoughts about Gotham City are fond, but fuzzy by now. Maybe you're a new listener and want to dive into my longest timestamp to date, using me as background noise as you do menial tasks around the house. I'm honored. For listeners new and old, let me formally introduce myself. My name is Judah Boone. I am a non-binary college graduate who has an affection for alliteration. And, of course, I'm from a city that has a crime-fighting bat that stalks the streets every night. Gothpod is a way to put the popular topics of my city in my own words. It's meant to be for Gothamites by a Gothamite. Though I'm more than ecstatic to be able to reach a wider audience than my pseudo-island off of New Jersey. Don't ask about the accent. If Bruce Wayne doesn't have to explain himself, neither do I. Even with my listener numbers swaying to Gothamites, people who understand the oddities that plague our own backyard, I do try to keep my work and my words as inclusive as possible. Gothamites have a tendency to hole up, a bad habit of curling around their fair city and hissing at any newcomers that get too close to question it. Much like the rabid, chemically enhanced raccoons that were released into our city by rogue Harley Quinn, with the added quote, "free puppies for anyone who can catch them without getting their face bitten off." Gothamites are hard to reason with when it comes to our trash home. But you're here. You are listening to a Gothamite's rebuttals and rambles for one reason or another. And as I love talking about Gotham, I welcome you with open arms. But just know that when this city gets her claws in you, it's hard to get away. Don't say I didn't warn you. This episode will be further analysis of some previously discussed topics, while I attempt to dissect a question that has plagued my city's image since its creation. Is Gotham City cursed? It's a phrase that most Gothamites might be familiar with. Gotham's curse. It's not a new concept to me, at least. And, of course, I mean a sense of being cursed beyond what any major city with a history of European colonization and colonialism might come up with. I've heard Gotham's curse be used in any situation you can fathom, from an excuse for an inconvenience to fun party antidotes. The Gotham curse, of course, made your ride lose a tire to a pothole the size of Rhode Island, right on the morning of a big test. Or how Robin, the boy wonder, crashed through your window, but the addition to the night actually made your date better, somehow. It truly feels like any Gotham-based project is going to have its setbacks. Our subway system got shut down 11 times just this year. Half of those were for the purpose of reconstruction. The Riddler or any sort of puzzle-based rogue enjoy the so-called rat race that the trains create. We had Killer Croc stationed at Station 5 for nearly a month. Similarly, I almost didn't graduate because I had to take a singular psychology class for my major, and the rogue, known as the Scarecrow, kidnapped every psychology professor who stepped foot in the city. That became basically anyone who was qualified to teach the subject in the state. The whole state. Gotham U ended up sending me a link and a code for an online course, and that was just completely a different uphill battle. Even this project, 2 weeks after finishing my first draft, I lost my voice. Do you know how difficult it is to work in an audio-based medium with no audio to base it off of? Those are just a few examples in a city full of mishaps and evil schemes. Even in just the first two examples, they target pillars of everyday life for some people: transportation and education. You might have noticed that I've given a lot of examples with rogues so far as well. That brings us to part 1. The rogues. Most Gothamites will tell you there's a love-hate relationship with most of the ravaging rakes tied to unrestrained rampages and headline-worthy reputations. But rogues are not all that make the city. Specifically, for our topic, rogues are not all that make Gotham City's curse. Couldn't this curse be responsible for rogues even existing? Would Dr. Pamela Isley be known as Poison Ivy without it? The same question could be said about others. Dr. Quinzel, Dr. Crane. I will not be considering Hugo Strange for this list, as I do not respect him. My affection for rogues is that of a Greek peasant to the pantheon in ancient times. I don't really care about all of them, but I pay respect to the ones who will strike me down if I don't. Hugo Strange? You're a hack, you're a mad scientist on your best day, and there is a reason you were the least popular Dr. Strange. Note the quotation marks. There is a criminal, and then there is what we have curated in our hero and villain-based society. Rogues. Villains. Within this discussion of a Gotham curse, some rogues can be both a cause and effect. I think it would be disrespectful to the ones who are hurting and are hurting others in retaliation if I didn't acknowledge that. I understand any possible confusion from non-Gotham natives listening. The rogues are, from an outside perspective, the main driving force of the so-called curse. They're the ones blowing up buildings and poisoning the water supply. These big, scary moves in some chess game in which we, as citizens, are pawns. But when you grow up in Gotham, when you're entrenched in the discussions within the community and the history, you realize people only started noticing how bad Gotham was when criminals started naming themselves after nouns. This is a bit of a chicken or the egg situation to most people who have grown up with rogues as a part of everyday life. Non-Gothamites think that the rogues made Gotham terrible, but Gotham being terrible is what made the rogues. It's like... Okay, stick with my science brain for a second. When the variables of an environment are right, moss can grow anywhere. It doesn't matter where you go. If moss can be there, it will be there. Moss is one of the first steps to breaking down the earth to make way for a new variety of plants. The moss in this example is crime. Crime can happen anywhere, but when the variables are right, you create and you cultivate the space for rogues. Would some of my examples be on Batman's watch list if the environment wasn't built to create and cultivate? I don't know. It's a what if that no one can say for sure. But having an understanding of the environment is the first step to building empathy, something that Gotham is in desperate need of at times. And I just want to clarify for some of my examples, I don't believe that just because you had access to a higher education, you should be set for a stable life. I don't think I've met a single stable grad student. Did you know Bruce Wayne went to medical school before dropping out? Who am I kidding? Half of you probably have Bruce Wayne's Wikipedia page memorized. And that brings us to part 2. Bruce Wayne. I have an entire episode on Bruce Wayne. You probably know this. He's as embedded in modern-day Gotham City culture just as the Bat is. And don't worry, I'll spend some time talking about him too. There's always a lot to discuss when it comes to Bruce Wayne. Orphan, CEO, billionaire, philanthropist, playboy, adoptive father, Gotham Gazette's favorite hot topic, and Tumblr's favorite hot mess. It's as if it's his job to create a stir in the media, and rent is due. Though I could never fathom the thought of Bruce Wayne paying rent. His own, anyway. I think half the city was eligible for the Wayne Foundation's relief program after that citywide blackout. We could discuss Bruce Wayne's tragic past if we wanted to, but it's a part of his life he's rather private about. So, to be respectful, I'm going to talk about his tragic present instead. Bruce Wayne is a big name in Gotham City. Half of the questions I get from the few tourists that visit is where they can best spot the Prince of Gotham. The fact that the mere idea of his face on a billboard could encourage someone to come to Gotham for a day speaks for itself. I doubt I need to tell any of you this. The 3 things anyone will know Gotham for are as follows: Batman, the rogues Batman fights, and Bruce Wayne. If anyone tells you that they know Gotham for our jewelry industry or something of that nature, they're lying. They are lying to your face. They are a Bruce Wayne fanatic and they won't tell you. Check their Twitter right now. It's a Stan account. But what some people might not know is how much big trouble that big name can bring. Bruce Wayne has been kidnapped more than any other civilian in the city. He has the record of being the most kidnapped man in the United States, which I didn't know was a thing. It gets so bad where journalists have to pick and choose which Bruce Wayne was kidnapped stories they're going to run in the major papers. Does this mean Bruce Wayne is cursed? Is it the funny, twisted way that the city shows affection for one of her favorite sons? Is it a possible byproduct of a secret Bruce Wayne/Batman romance? The possibility dived into Gothpod episode 8. Who's to say? Part 3. The city. It's as if the idea of a curse is baked into our city, built in. With its dimly lit back alleys and its dark and gothic architecture, it would seem like the perfect gravitational pull to invite in wayward souls and metaphorical spirits of the past. We see the sun a collective 30 hours in a year. Meanwhile, our sister city across the bay gets skittish at a rain cloud. No offense, Metropolis. You don't know how to drive in the rain, and we would hide indoors if Persephone herself brought a summer day to our doorstep. How does a city like Metropolis exist only a couple of hours away? We can't blame the rogues, because as I said, they're in a cycle of hurt and get hurt. We can't blame the gargoyle-crowned buildings, grim-covered, gilded in lead. As much as I personify the city, that doesn't mean brick and mortar can have intent. We can't blame Bruce Wayne, half victim, half savior, trying to give everything he can back to a city that takes. Should we blame the old money families that built Gotham and keep a hold of it? Passive and stuck in an ideal that no longer is viable to the current city? I mean, we certainly can keep them accountable. Keep questioning why they aren't as active in the type of organizations that Bruce Wayne finds it so easy to give to. But blaming them for a manhole cover crashing into the front window of your favorite coffee shop after hours doesn't sound as fitting or as fun as a curse. The city is truly built like no other, but its history isn't entirely unique. The whispers of the occult that surround the founding families could bring about some historical proof of some dark magic workings. Or it's all rumors and hearsay brought about by people who think that a reputation is the worst thing a person could lose. Guys, when do we get to talk about Batman? Is it time? I've meandered long enough, all important stuff. But remember what topic sat at number 1 of things people know Gotham for. Part 4. The Batman. Batman, or the Bat, as I like to call him, has been around since I was a baby. He just appeared one day. And for most of the newer generation in Gotham, a bat-protected city is all we've known. I've heard the horror stories, though. The absolute media storm that came, the fear and the confusion at the Batman that started to hunt and haunt in the night. The GCPD were after this thing, this shadow, more than the actual criminals. There was a new bringer of justice in town, and people were terrified. He was Shadows. He was the night. He was Gotham City fighting back with something very real and very dangerous. I wish I was older when he first appeared. I would want to ask classmates or coworkers, did you hear? Did you hear about our new living ghost story? Or where were you when you first heard about the Bat? His first introduction was being an absolute menace, terrorizing the streets of Gotham with fear and violence. He seemed to have mellowed out, in part. Or maybe we as citizens got used to it. Maybe he became less scary to us, less of a threat. Maybe when bigger and bolder menaces, like the Clown Prince of Crime, came onto scene, we realized that we needed to pick our battles. From a frightening menace to a caped crusader, we came to terms that the Bat is for us. He fights for us. He's one of us. But what is he? Gotham's hero, if you're comfortable using that word for the Bat, is best described as a cryptid. A little more elusive than your college advisor when prepping for your next semester, but seen more than any of the Mothman types. I know that not everyone believes in the spooky specter theory. Some people think that there is a person behind that mask, though the idea of who that person may be causes the discussion to branch into 1,000 more arguments that we simply wouldn't have time for. Some arguments are so flimsy, I wouldn't feel comfortable as a commentator dignifying them with a section of my time. If you think that Bruce Wayne is Batman, get out. He's barely a man. Even if you do not agree with my personal idea of the Bat, you can't argue with the fact that there is a large portion of Gothamites that believe in the crime-fighting ghost story. He's removed enough from human capabilities and features that people can genuinely consider the idea that he's more of a concept than a man, and not immediately be marked as the type of conspiracy theorist to avoid at family gatherings and work parties. Is that enough to sway the idea that Gotham has a curse? A cryptic concept incarnate, creeping along every shadowed rooftop, combing through the streets to capture every crime accomplice and themed fiend he can find. That is our protector. And then there's Robin, our boy wonder. A bright glimmer in the dark, fighting just the same, but flying with a type of enthusiasm that one would never see from the Bat. The Bat is terrifying, but he brings hope of a safer night. Robin, our baby bird, fighting with talons and a raptor's bite. And here we are, our 5th and final part, the balance. This past month, there was a city-wide blackout. The power grid in Gotham has certainly taken a beating before, one of those hotspots of attacks that one can't simply get rid of. But this was the worst one we've seen in a while. I won't go into detail of who or why it happened. I've listed several rogues already. You can use your imagination here. Maybe the Penguin set up several buildings in a makeshift black and white domino set, and even he didn't know how bad the damage would be. Maybe Victor Freeze needed all the AC and heater units to be shut down. Maybe it was Thursday for the Joker. Whoever, however, the result was the same. It often is, more than people outside of the city seem to realize. The names and the gimmicks don't matter as much when the damage is done. All that can be done is to pick up what is left and continue on. This blackout lasted for 3 days, 3 nights. The second night without any of the usual emergency lighting. One of those mishaps that the curse can be blamed for. It was one of those weeks with a dreary forecast. The type of weather where 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. look exactly the same. It was disorienting, dampening any progress of any project. It was just enough time to wonder if someone was actually coming to save the day this time. Gothamites deal with these kinds of issues enough where we're used to them, and we get bragging rights for being tough as nails. That doesn't mean we're completely immune to the effects of villainous shenaniganery. All the king's horses and all the king's men were trying to bring power back to the city, while all the bane of the king's existence were using the opportunity to power grab, or just straight up steal, and the rest of us were just trying to function. So why bring this up? Gotham faces problems all the time. It probably should be on the list of things Gotham is known for. Yes, Gotham has issues. My voice is just one of the many that try to put words to the day-to-day madness. It's often attention-grabbing headlines of Gotham City that get the public's eyes on us. The Florida Man equivalent for us Yankees. And that's fine, really. It truly is unbelievable at times. I see some of the most ridiculous stuff on my newsfeed, and I just have to accept it. I swear I'm gonna live to see Joker escaping Arkham on the back of Man-Bat, and then I'm just gonna have to go work a 9 to 5 after that. But it's not always like that. There are truly incredible moments that remind me why I love my city. There are kids that come to my work dressed up like the Dark Knight or the Boy Wonder, and I compliment their costumes and they tell me, no, it's not a costume. They're practicing being a hero, just like the bat and the bird. My uncle had gone back to school, something that would not have been possible without a Wayne scholarship, and he graduated this May with a business degree. That second night of the blackout, I stepped out onto my apartment's fire escape to see if the loss of emergency lights had affected the whole block. And when I looked up, in total darkness, there was a break in the clouds, and I got to see the stars. Is Gotham cursed? It all depends on your perspective. Gotham's curse is much like Gotham's beauty, all in the eye of the beholder. Gotham is strange. Gotham is beautiful. Lead-lined buildings that leer and threaten, yet somehow embody a caring mother, wrapping her arms around her children to protect them from the unknowns of the outside. It's full of secrets, shadows, but it's also an incredibly freeing place to be yourself. I've always felt at home with the oddities. Its nighttime is filled with villains that sometimes feel endearing, if not encumbersome, and a protector that bares its fangs at anything new. Gotham is weird, and it's my favorite place in the whole world. I think Gotham's curse is just another way for Gothamites to explain the unexplainable. We all want to find the words to describe our experiences. We all want people to understand us, to understand our lives. That can be tough in a place like Gotham, and everyone loves a conversational shortcut. No, I can't explain to you the deep confusion and intrigue I felt when I saw Gotham Bay turn a neon green. We don't have time to explain all my running theories of who and why it turned back after 20 minutes. And my concern that if that water will ever be normal. All you did was ask me how my morning walk went. The easiest thing to do is shake my head and sigh and go, this city is cursed. Thank you everyone for joining me on this special Gothpod episode. My name is Judah Boone, and until next time, stay safe, Gotham. That was me blowing up.